I was somewhere on the edge of the graveyard when the hangover wore off. Vampires make a liquor of sorts, distilled from cow blood, of all things, and they like to put crushed wormwood in it. This stuff does what absinthe is supposed to do. Green fairies? You're going to have the whole green cast of Midsummer Night's Dream acting out their factions in front of you. It's a truly fantastic kind of drunk, and you won't become a bloodsucker. The downside, the principal downside, is that recovery takes forever. And I'm not talking about that generally shitty feeling that happens when you party too hard, much past age 30, and lingers for a few days, and you eat fried garbage and watch Netflix. I'm talking non compos mentis for a day and a half. You need to clear your schedule and have a safe place to curl up with plenty of water and no disturbances. Naturally, I had done none of that. Killing vampires is thirsty work. It's easier during the day when they hide from their weird life and death torpor from the sun. It's not risk free, though. Stabbing things and cutting their heads off never is. You can sneak up on them, sure. You can even get a good shot in with the stake, but the stake doesn't kill them, Virginia. The stake holds them down so you can behead them. That kills them. And they do tend to wake up when you impale them, as anyone would. So if you haven't got the stake down at one blow, and you haven't got your axe ready, get ready to wrestle an angry bloodsucker trying to eat you. And I mean that literally. They don't just poke a hole and drain a bit of red cruvy when you wake them up in daytime. They go full zombie. Anyway, I had done all that. I had stalked a small coven to a churchyard, which usually means there is a Renfield somewhere on the church staff. There always is, some derpy schmuck who gets suckered by existential promises to be a thrall Friday. Usually it's a parish secretary or some other mousy type. Sometimes it's the pastor. That's always awkward. So yeah, three of them. Coffins in a mausoleum. I tracked them there by triangulating recent bleeding attacks and morgue visits and running that through my computer at the lab. Nah, just kidding. I got lucky and spotted one of them after she fed off a child. These new female vamps, always nibbling on kids. It means something, but I don't have the education to determine what, and I wouldn't trust my conclusions if I did. I've seen too much. Right. So, I wait until dawn, and I'm sure that all the Canites are hibernating, and whoever the Renfield is isn't watching. Some of them like to keep a creepy vigil over the master's tomb in the daytime. That's super annoying because you can't just kill them. They're still human. And I approach from the non church side of the property so I'm not seen by dawn commuters. And I move with deliberateness, not drawing attention to myself by moving too quickly or too slowly. I am aware of anyone else and simultaneously acting like I belong there. I may have had a few. The mausoleum was still dark in the early morning hours. I stood perfectly still and waited for the sun to come up full. The sun is your friend in this game. You can still kill them in the dark, but it's harder. Night is their element. So I waited, like a hole in reality, hardly breathing, in the dank odor of the mausoleum, processing every stray sound to be sure it wasn't a coffin lid opening up. I probably came too early. Like I said, I had a few. Eventually, the light shifted, and I knew it was time. I examined the coffins more critically now, decided which one was the master's. There's always a master. The rest are new recruits. Vamps are exactly as predictable as you imagine. There's almost no daylight between the pop culture images and the reality. As far as I'm concerned, Stoker was either a Renfield or a vamp himself. Neither can be ruled out. There were three coffins. The one at the far side of the mausoleum is set up so as to peer in between the others when you walked in. This both demonstrated who was head and served a tactical purpose. Sometimes when you hit the master, the others wake up in full zombie mode to protect. Sometimes they don't. It's still smart to hit the master first because when he goes down, the others usually suffer some kind of devastating emotional blow. which means something about vamp psychology, which again, other people have spent lifetimes in musty libraries learning about. How they get the information is beyond me. I sure don't report any of it. Probably it's others. So I shoved the lid on what I surmised to be the master's coffin. It goes across easily and hits the ground with a resounding noise. Enough to wake the dead, but not these dead. The humanoid form inside was a woman. She had blonde hair and full, lifelike cheeks and lips and skin that the dead don't have. The vamp glamour shot, I like to call it.